Hey everyone, it's Dr. Rick, founder of Herbal 411. I am surrounded by aromatherapy. This is a lavender plant. I better get some space here. This is a nebulizer, something that vibrates water and sends it into particles. And there is currently lavender in there. This is a packet with lavender leaves that are dried and then essential oil. So the idea is I was at my office yesterday with my Aldi's coffee, and the lead medical assistant said, "I love the smell of that coffee." And I said, "Well, it's Aldi's, and there's butter in it." And I offered it to her, Sochi, but she didn't want any because she doesn't drink it. But it's still, the reason I'm bringing it up is that it still brought out a feeling of I like blank. I like that. And I'm offering a lecture on Friday, 2 days from now, about neuroplasticity and brain health. And FYI, if you like reading books, Chris Palmer's book is excellent on brain health and brain energy. It's mostly just low carb and calming practice. He's a psychiatrist out of Harvard. So the idea is a lot of people have brain fog. A lot of people will have difficulty with sleeping. A lot of people will have difficulty with recollection, bringing back memories from before. But I postulate to you that you can do a practice of some sort every day. Doing this reminds me of calm. I smell the lavender. This hasn't bloomed yet, but I smell the lavender in my plant. In Catholicism, we use a thurible. That's this thing. To use charcoal and essence of mostly frankincense, myrrh. Those were the things presented during the nativity scene, what happened when Christ was born. And they usually will have this incense in the altar certain times of the year to make the altar, the sacrament of worship, begin in the mind. And when you smell this as a kid, I was an altar boy, and I used to be enveloped in this cloud of smoke, not vape, but smoke. And again, it would, you'd just smell it, and it would calm the brain down. And all those years when I was a kid, when I smell it again, it brings me right back to being an altar boy. So what does it do? It triggers something in the mind to say, hey, I remember that smell from before. Zoom back, and the film in my brain brings me back to that memory. And it's an exercise. This, no matter what time of the day, if it relaxes me, it kind of brings me back to a massage table. If I'm getting deep massage from a musculoskeletal injury or just a calm. If you've ever been to a resort, usually they'll have this in the areas where you're supposed to meditate or just have morning calm. So the reason I'm bringing this up, even with regards to coffee and food, if you smell something that's traditionally cooked by or created by your mom or your grandma, it brings you right back to that event. So there are good things, there are bad things, and we are surrounded by a whole bunch of bad stuff. You go in Chicago and you have this plume of medical cannabis that somebody just vaped that they're not supposed to be doing in public, and it's like, oh, that's strong, especially with your kids. Or you smell carbon monoxide, you smell diesel fuel, that's bad. So we have ways to engage memories that are bad. We have ways to engage memories that are good. I postulate to you that you really should be practicing good memory. And it starts with the five senses. Whether you hear something cool, Mozart is calming. I wouldn't listen to hard rock with nasty curse words, but it puts you in the mood for a thing. If I get into exercise, I will be driving my adrenaline up and getting more aggressive so I can perform and develop muscle. If I wanted to bring this brain into the biggest amount of neuroplasticity or brain growth, and those of you who think that you're supposed to have memory issues when you're older, No, you're supposed to be able to grow. Your muscle might not be able to grow, but if you continue to maintain muscle, it, especially with exercise, will tell the brain grow more. There are hormones that are used in the body to allow growth, just like this plant. And if you don't utilize or have a burst, a pulse of hormone, you're leaving a lot on the table. This is pulsing my hormone to bring my memories back. It's exercising between my olfactory nerves and the frontal brain and the temporal lobe or the hippocampus. So just all of that is an exercise in neuroplasticity in that it turns on tracks of memory. That's practice. If you do a crossword puzzle, if you engage people in a conversation when you're eating dinner, I think that's all important too, but these are things that you can do on your own. Practicing a good diet, whether it's low carb or it's Mediterranean, your choice, but you're supposed to kind of surround your event, eating or calming practice, with those spikes of what's going on. Let me get this memory embedded in my brain. So I am going to be holding a conference in 2 days, as I mentioned, at St. Joseph's Hospital in Elgin at 4 p.m. and we'll be talking about things to improve memory, grow brain. And this could be whether you have a developmental disorder or you're just getting old and you're keeping the memory tracks unexercised. We can teach you a couple things. There's also things to do with regards to eating, to maximizing on sleeping or sleep maxing, to also use exercise properly without having to be a big bodybuilder. There's ways to find your level of what you're supposed to be practicing weekly. So hopefully this gives you a couple of ideas. Essential oil can be purchased anywhere. There are some good essential oils and there's some questionable essential oils. I think what I learned from Jennifer at Gen Sense in Florida is that there's higher grades and better qualities. There's also ways to waft certain oils and try to bring out a response, and then you can have these things personally blended. Gen Sense is her website. So either way, try to come out. I'll try to broadcast it on the internet, but I always have problems with the internet, and I don't want to be concentrating on the phone when I'm trying to encourage and educate people. So I'll try my best, but if not, I offer these lectures to the community once a month. Get on my Facebook page, Dr. Rick Hiking Excursions, or get on my YouTube channel. I usually broadcast when my next educational community lecture is. So thanks for watching. See you at the lecture.